It was a very quiet Sunday morning, and Nigeria wake up to the news that will echo around the nation. The death of Nigeria's two-term former president, a former military head of state, General Muhammadu Buhari. The nation were left to mourn and filled with pain, though not all. Buhari died in what we will call exile, not in his village, Daura, his state, Katsina, neither in the capital city, Abuja, where he ruled for 10 plus years as a civilian president and a military head of state. He was far away from the nation in London. While many Nigerian mourn, many accuse him with misfeeling. Why will he be in London, taking treatment in an hospital? Why didn't he build one where he could treat himself in Nigeria? Buhari has once been on this stage before. In 2017, few years after taking office, he went silent. Many had feared if this would be another Yaradua. Nigeria only waited with hope and anticipation that he would return. Months go by, then finally he was back to the nation, hale and healthy. Though rumors cycled that this wasn't Buhari ruling the nation, that it was the Sultan of Sudan who replaced Buhari, and Buhari would take interview assuring the nation that it was him, even joking about him being the Sultan of Sudan. Few years down the line, 2 years after leaving office, he's yet to trade the same path again. This time, he didn't return, just as 2017. Let's take a look at a little history of Nigerian former presidents. Former military head of state, General Muhammadu Buhari. He was born in 1942 in Katsina State, northern Nigeria. Buhari rose through the rank as a well-disciplined military officer, and in 1983, he led a coup that will overthrow the then civilian government. He toppled the government of Shehu Shagari. Buhari ruled with an iron hand, was strict and disciplined, and it was what he called war against indiscipline. Civilians feared for their life, even journalists were jailed, and within 2 years, him too was overthrown by another military coup and was silent in exile for years. But however, in 1999, Nigeria returned back to a democratic rule, and in 2003, he challenged the then city president and lost. In 2007, he challenged Yaradua in an election and lost again. And in 2011, the worst has just come when he lost to the then city president Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. So he thought. Strategically, he ran a well-promising campaign on change, changing the corrupt government, changing the Nigerian economy, and building a better and good nation where all Nigeria will be proud. However, those change never came when he won. Instead, it was a tour at London's hospitals, and yet he never built one in the country where he promised change. Buhari's 8 years as a civilian president was marked by economical struggle, insecurity, rise in ethnic tension, accusation of nepotism, and so on and so forth. While making this video, for the benefit of that, I tried to find his achievements while in office, but I struggled to find a meaningful one. Some of his achievements in office were infrastructure development such as Second Niger Bridge, the Warri-Itakpe Railway, the Abuja Container Railway, the Lagos-Ibadan Railway. One major achievement one we applaud President Buhari for was agricultural push. He encouraged the nation to grow its own product, its own food, and shut down the border while Nigeria struggled for food. He sent the whole nation to the farmland to start cultivating their food. He made some economical reform, but however, it affected its citizens in all ramifications. He increased security in the banking sector, such as introducing the BVN, and so on and so forth. Despite this achievement, many in the nation still ask, what did he really do? Claiming to build infrastructure, why didn't he really build the hospital he could have died in? He could have died in Nigeria. Instead, chooses to die in exile. Now, today, whichever way, we celebrate Muhammadu Buhari's legacy, a man who has ruled Nigeria both as a military head of state and a civilian president, a man who ruled Nigeria and left us with a mixed feeling, whether to like or to hate. And with that, we'll be looking at Nigeria's past presidents, how they died. Sir Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, Nigeria's first prime minister, a teacher turned statesmanship. In 1966, he was abducted and murdered in Nigeria's first coup. No trial, no ceremony. His body was found in a ditch outside Lagos. His only crime was believing in a united Nigeria. Major General Aguyi Ironsi, the first Nigerian military head of state. His rule was briefly, just barely 6 months after taking office, before him too was overthrown in a coup considered to be one of the bloodiest coups in Nigeria, and was executed during that coup. His death deepened Nigeria's ethnic divide between the southern region and the northern region, which pulled the country to war. General Muhammad, fiery and bold, he ruled only 6 months, just as Aguyi Ironsi, before being gunned down in Lagos. And the death moved so fast to have been alive. President Shehu Shagari, who was ousted by the very man who would later die in London, Buhari. Shehu Shagari died peacefully in 2018, surrounded by family members. His era as a president was marked by economic turn down. General Sani Abacha, Nigeria's fiercest, darkest, ruthless, and powerful military dictator. In 1998, he died suddenly, officially from an heart attack under the vice of a poison or a trickish girl.